Okay, I'm back. Anyway, so basically, she yeah, she just kind of fades out of our life, and everyone's very happy. We think, great, everything's going to go back to the way it was, because we felt like we had a pretty harmonious like situation, and when she got like introduced, like they both became like crazy. The problem is he was still wound up and crazy. And on top of that, he had been just not paying his rent. And like no one knew except for one of the roommates, who finally brought it up. Like that one roommate's like, hey, so this is happening. I'm like, how far behind is he? Well, he owes about $5,000. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, what happened to make it this far? And yeah, it's just like he's been struggling with work, and you know, he was doing all sorts of stuff, and it just he was just really struggling. And we all talked about it, and we're like, look, the whole point of having roommates is so that they can pay rent, so that everyone kind of has less burden on themselves, and especially like if everyone likes each other. But like he's just not paying rent. Like, what's going on here? So we talked to him about it, and we're like, hey, look, you need to find a job. It's been like 6 months since you've had a job. You didn't go back to the job you had previously because you had gotten laid off over the summer. And so, you know, you thought you had this other job and then you just didn't do it. You have to find a job. And instead of finding a job, he's just playing video games all day. And it's like the job market is hard out there, but there's lots of people that he knows that he can try and pull some strings on. Doesn't seem to be the case. Seems like he's just vibing and thinks, you know what, I haven't paid rent for X amount. I'm just going to keep not paying rent, and what's going to happen to me, you know? And finally, it just comes to a point where it's like, we can't do this. You didn't pay rent. You said you were going to pay like all of the rent, and you paid like, you know, 300 of the however much you owed for rent for this month. Like, you can't even, we talked to you, and the month that we talked to you, you can't even do that month. How are you expected to like do this in the long term? So we're going to have you move. And he got incredibly upset. He stomped around. He's like, well, I'm going to go and kill myself. And then he slams the door and like drives off. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Which, on a side thing, every time there was a big major like event that was going on, he's like, well, I'm going to go kill myself. And then we would like call him, and then suddenly he'd get all this attention. And then suddenly he's actually not going to go kill himself. And he never was going to go kill himself. And he's very happy and everything's fine. And this is really bothering me in the background, because it's like, I legitimately have attempted. And like, I've been this close to killing myself on multiple occasions. And it's like, I can just see how it's not that he isn't depressed. He is. But he's using the I'm going to go kill myself line as a means to guilt trip and to kind of like get attention. That's just what he was doing. And every time it's like, well, yeah, we got to go and make sure he doesn't actually do it, because if he does, well, we're going to feel awful that we didn't at least try and stop him, right? So every time it works, because we're in a catch-22 of like, well, we obviously don't want our friend to go and kill him or kill himself, right? There's also kind of more info on like what was going on in the background of the relationship, because other friends are starting to get involved and they're finding out a lot of like interesting things, such as him talking about literally like trying to kill the ex-girlfriend when she was like there. Like, this is, I'm backtracking a little bit, and we're like, whoa, what the fuck? And then we found out even later that it was like not even just, oh, I want to kill her. It's, here's my detailed plan that I'm doing in a public bar and I'm talking about it. And I'm going to use the defense of like the castle invasion defense, where I'm going to like get her to attack me and then I'm going to kill her in self-defense. And that's how he's going to get it off. So he doesn't go to jail. Which is insane. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, so there's like this happening, and then we're starting to find out other things, like he's always been kind of crazy at driving, but we found out, oh, he's been in like 10 plus accidents, and it's like he's bragged in the past about accidents that like, oh yeah, I made sure that it was their fault so that then I could get insurance money and get a new car. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we're starting to uncover more and more of this bullshit. And it's like, he doesn't care. He actually just doesn't care. If he gets his way, cool. If not, he stomps around like a child. And like, it's just awful. So we're like, yeah, we have to have him leave. So we end up just telling him, okay, it's time for you to go. You have until this date to be like out. And we're also not signing the lease again. Now, little did we know, we actually weren't going to sign the lease, but we didn't know that at the time. We just thought like, okay, this is a good reason to get him to leave, because if we're all leaving anyway, he's going to have to leave and he won't be able to sign the lease anyway. So he on the way out, we have like this huge room dedicated to board games, and we have everyone's board games are like all mixed together, and he tries to fucking steal my board games. And this is not even like an accident thing. It's a deliberate intention to steal the board games, because we have like multiple copies of some games. And some of these games, like, I have a game that has very specific pieces in it, and he has a game that's the same without those pieces. And he's always liked my version of the game, because the pieces are just like metal pieces, really cool. Like, and yeah, it's like he's taken that. He's making sure to take the best of whatever game it is. And of course, he hides it and buries it at the bottom of these boxes that he's packing. And I like look at the board game wall and I notice that my games are gone. So I go through his like boxes that he's been packing. And I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm not going to let you just steal my board games. So I take them all back into my room. And then I tell the roommates, hey, he's stealing shit. I don't know what else he might have been taking, but like, protect your stuff. Anything that you think is valuable, protect it. Make sure that you put it where he's not going to go. And so we spend like a week where he's packing stuff, very angrily stomping around. And yeah, we're just trying to protect our stuff. And he finally leaves. On the day of his moving, we have one final confrontation where it's like, I just say, I'm just so upset about this board game thing. I'm like, I can't believe that you would fucking steal my board games. Like, I thought, even though we're, like, not good, like, the fact that you would do that is so, like, so frustrating. And, you know, we have a yelling match. And then the friend that's, like, the mediator between all of us is like, hey, everyone shut the fuck up. And, you know, like, and then he leaves. And I find out later that he was incredibly frustrated and upset that we didn't help him pack. And I'm like, well, yeah, when you give us I'm going to go kill myself, we call the police. We called the police on that too, by the way. You know, they didn't do anything because, of course, they can't do anything when he just drives off. But, oh yeah, I had also called the police on a different occasion when they were having a fight. That it was that one fight where I was like, "You're gone." I called the police on that too, because I was like, I don't want another domestic violence thing to happen and not have the police involved. So, but anyway, back to the main thing. So I find out later that, like, he was angry that we didn't help him. And I'm just like, yeah, we're not going to help you because you basically gave us the silent treatment for the entire month that you were packing. You didn't ask for help. You didn't talk to us. And you kept telling every friend around you that me specifically, am an evil person that is like, I have all this money and I should just give him money to stay there and pay for his rent because that's what friends do, and that he would do that if it was him who was in the situation, and I'm just this awful, evil person. And it's just like, to me, it's just like so laughable at this point, because, like, if he thinks that that's gonna make me sad, dude, my whole life I've been deemed a fucking evil devil that, like, is a monster. So what does you saying that you're mad at me for, like, not doing this and that I'm some villain? What's a villain compared to a monster? Nothing. At least a villain's human in most cases. Like, monster's not even human. So it's like, sure. It's like, it's just such a laughable thing at this point. And so, yeah, it's like, after that, then move into the current place where I'm currently living. And it's like, finally, there is a calm and there is a peace that I hadn't felt ever. There's no drama. There's no problems. I'm just at peace. And I'm really just digging through all of the shadow work. And for the next year, I'm just shadow working. I'm focusing on me. And I'm slowly getting better and better and better. And then at one point, in October of last year, I start getting into, like, tarot and, like, spirituality stuff, like, more in detail, to try and, like, see if there's something more that maybe that line of thought can like help me with, because I feel like I'm at a good point. And but there's just some things that just, there's this last little like nudge that I need, and I just can't figure out what it is. So I do a tarot reading randomly, and it's like, hey, there's like prosperity coming in, and like, you're actually like, you've been on a healing journey. I get the Hermit, I get the this, that, and the other, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this sounds a lot like what's going on with my life. And there's kind of a forecast of like good things in the future. And I'm like, great. Then, I get to the thing with the coach where it's like, I dedicate a large amount of money to, I say large, it's like, it's all relative. So I dedicate some money to a 6-month like course, and that's when I start doing the vlogging, and now we're kind of caught up. So yeah, basically that's kind of an outline of the life. I went into some details. I tried to hit all of the main important stuff. I'm sure I've left out some things, but I think I don't know. I don't. It's just as some kind of closing thoughts. I don't exactly know what a normal life looks like at this point. I know the life I've lived, and I know that lots of people have lots of like struggles and difficulties. And from my perspective, I feel like there's lots of people who've had it harder than me. And I don't know. I just think it's kind of, it all sounds crazy, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, isn't that just like how life is? But I'm slowly kind of realizing, as I've done like this final chapter of shadow work for now. I'm not saying that I won't be doing more shadow work later, but my hermit phase is definitely over. And I'm realizing that like life does not have to be this way. And I've really felt this like internal feeling that the life that I lived previously was one giant tower that had multiple smaller towers in it that I had to conquer and make it through in order to become the me right now. And I'm glad I went through it all. I forgive unconditionally everyone for everything that happened. I forgive myself for everything that happened. I love everyone that was a part of my journey unconditionally, regardless of who they were. And I love myself unconditionally. And that's all I can do. That's kind of yeah. If I just love and forgive, nothing can stop me. Because then, regardless of what situation comes my way, it's an opportunity to grow and learn something new. And I don't have to hate or be mad or frustrated, because we're all just struggling. We're all working on trying to become better us. And just because someone hasn't gone through all the things I've gone through doesn't mean that the things they're going through aren't important, and that I shouldn't love them just because they don't have the perspective I have. Of course I should just love everyone, regardless of what they've done, regardless of who they are. I know that for me, throughout my life, that's something I always wish someone would have done. And I know that there have been people who have loved me, for sure. I think the current roommates care about me. And we've had some, awesome, healing moments and hugging it out and stuff like that. So, but I don't know. There's I can tell that the way I love people and the way other people love me are very different. I haven't really, the only two people that I've felt love the same way I do is my mom and my grandfather, specifically for me. And I want people to feel that. And it doesn't matter what they did. It doesn't matter who they are. I feel like everyone deserves to be loved. Unconditionally. Not just loved because of something they do or someone they are. I also think that everyone should be forgiven. Doesn't matter what they did. Because when we start drawing lines of, well, this person can be forgiven, but this person can't, eventually you're going to be on the wrong side of that line. You just will, eventually. As long as there's a line, there's someone to cross. So, if you forgive unconditionally, and you love unconditionally, I think that's the best thing you can do. And that's not to say that you can't defend yourself, protect yourself. If there are rules that are broken, boundaries that are crossed, obviously, you can't just let someone continuously do that. You have to have proper boundaries to protect yourself and to protect others. And so when someone does something that is wrong, they need to be taken to justice through the system or whatever it is that's in place. But this is very important. You have to treat them as a human being, regardless of what they've done. You have to. And then, if you can unconditionally forgive them and love them, I mean, I'm sure they're going to really appreciate that. Because in the end, we're all part of the same being. So by you loving and forgiving, you're loving and forgiving yourself. It's just a different part you don't know. And at the end of the day, at least my experience of being in that void, that's the one thing that was just lacking, is love. Of like, there's just this loneliness. I don't think anyone should feel lonely and sad and want to feel something. I don't know. I don't really know where that's going, but yeah. It's it's important. And the more people that show forgiveness and love in an unconditional way, the more our society can heal, and we can start working together to make this world a better place. We don't have to be divided. We don't have to hate people because they believe something different. We can be different. We can have a world where people love unconditionally, people forgive unconditionally, and we all understand we're just doing our best. We're just living our life. We're just trying to live. That's it. Trying to experience this realm we're in. Okay. I did forget something. I kind of don't want to ruin what I just talked about, but it definitely needs to be talked about. I literally just like, I forgot about this. Do I put it in this video? I feel like it kind of has to be because everything else is kind of here. Although there are a lot of stuff that I like didn't really get into, so maybe this is for a separate video. I'll leave it for the next video. Maybe I'll just film it right after this. I'm already kind of working through a lot of footage, so. Okay. Thanks for listening to my fucking, what is this, like a, oh Jesus. These videos are gonna be, this is so long. Oh my god. Alright, well, thanks for watching. This is my life. Roughly. We've hit the surface. You at least see how vast the ocean is. You haven't gone deep into the ocean, but at least you see how wide it is and the overall like shape on top. So all right, thanks. I'll see you in the next video, whatever that may be. And I love all of you. And you know what? Just saying, doesn't matter what you've done. Doesn't matter who you are. I forgive you. And I love you unconditionally. Like, truly. So even if you don't forgive yourself and love yourself, at least someone does. Maybe you can work towards that. All right. Stay safe out there.